What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Against the Flow podcast. This is a podcast for music producers, artists, creatives, entrepreneurs, and anyone doing anything extraordinary in life. I'm your host, Yenoh Sounds, and today we're going to be talking about my approach to creating content. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Alright, so we are live with the 31st episode of Against the Flow podcast. And today we're going to be talking about my approach to creating content. A lot of people I've talked to and connected with always tell me that they like my unique approach to creating content and how much content I put out. So I wanted to address it and give some insight on how I create content, give some detail and context on my thought process, just give a breakdown of everything mentally and physically when I create content. So before I get into the meat and potatoes of actually creating content, I wanted to take a step back and give some backstory on how I got started. I came out of college with a bachelor's degree in biology. I had no background in business, marketing, branding, personal branding, building a social media following, and all that jazz. I had no experience and no clue what to do. So these were skills that I had to learn and develop through Google and through YouTube. I really had to take the time to learn these things. When it came to content creation and branding, the person I turned to was Gary Vee. So I would watch tons of keynotes and speeches and listen to tons of his podcast episodes. So this was my first ever exposure to the whole branding and marketing space. And being a producer, I knew how important it was to market your music and brand yourself. But the issue is I never knew how to do that. So again, this was my first exposure to the whole branding and marketing space. One thing that stood out to me that he said was, if you can't think of content, document your journey. And I tried to do this to the best of my ability. I tried to follow his advice by posting content and documenting my journey. But what really happened was I didn't have an end goal or didn't really know why I was posting content. Like, I didn't really have a purpose or reasoning behind my content I was posting. So I was just posting because Gary Vee told me to. So I was posting random stuff that nobody really cared about, and it definitely wasn't bringing anybody any value, not even myself. It wasn't motivating, it wasn't inspiring, it wasn't anything. I was just posting randomly and calling it documenting, which wasn't the case at all. It wasn't until I made a conscious decision to take a step back and reevaluate what I was posting, what vision I wanted for my brand, and what I wanted my brand to represent. I wanted my content to motivate, inspire, to help, to entertain, and also document my journey to build my personal brand as a music producer. So with that in mind, I sat down for hours, and I mean just sitting there with my thoughts for hours, and thought of the many different ways I can post content that aligns with my vision and my end goals. And keep in mind, I was writing all of this stuff down on a notepad. I wrote down my thoughts as a way of sorting it out because I tend to overthink a lot, and when I'm in my head, I get stuck in my head for a really long time, and I just go down this deep rabbit hole of overthinking, and I confuse myself. I just overwhelm myself with thoughts. So my way to sort my thoughts out properly is to write it down. What I really did was I wrote down everything I was doing currently, the content I was posting, which platforms I was posting on. And from there, on another piece of notebook paper, I wrote down what can I improve just looking at what I'm currently doing. So I looked at what I'm currently doing and tried to find any way that I can improve. Is it to post more? Is it to post with a message? Is it to post to entertain more? What is it that I can improve on? And that is what I did. I wrote down what I'm currently doing and what I expected myself to do. So start with a clear vision of what you want to be known for, what you want your brand to represent. And again, it's best to write it down and put it somewhere you can see, so that if you're ever feeling lost or you're ever feeling overwhelmed or confused, you can always refer back to it to get yourself back on track, or it could just serve as a daily reminder. So after you have a clear vision of what you want your brand to represent, you have it written down, you have all that good stuff, start breaking down which platforms you want your content to be on. What kind of content do you want on those platforms? And think of what kind of message you want to achieve with your content. So at this point, you've decided where you want to build your online presence, how you want to build your online presence, and what kind of audience do you want to attract. That means TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. How do you want to build your presence? Is it video? Is it audio? Is it pictures? And what kind of audience do you want to attract? What kind of message are you putting out there? What do you want to be known for? So basically, everything you create, from your music to your tweets to your Instagram stories or any piece of content that you create, has to align with your vision, your end goal, and your message. So again, think about which platforms you want to be on, what kind of content you want to post, and what your end goal or what your message is you want to send to your audience. And that leads us to the last and hardest step, which is actually posting. There's been so many times where I had everything in place. I had this grand plan and tons of content idea, but I didn't post a single thing. And I found out that this is actually the most difficult part, the part where you actually take action to post. And my reason for not posting was getting caught in the numbers, the likes, the shares, not getting a lot of followers, or even being judged for my post. Basically worrying about the numbers and caring what other people thought. But the one thing that helped me overcome this was to simply post and move on. And what I mean by that is, if you post a piece of content and it does well, that's great. But if not, that's great too. Maybe the next piece of content will do better. And whether or not I get judged for my piece of content, I know deep down that this piece of content aligns with my vision and my goals. So as long as it aligns with your vision and your goals, nothing else anyone say really matters. Because at the end of the day, if this is what you want your brand to represent, if this is what you want to stand for, then you shouldn't have any shame in posting what you want. So this was all in my mind. I realized I was just overthinking it. I was going round and round in my head until I just stopped and simply posted my piece of content and moved on from it. It's really that simple. So my mindset grew from being afraid to post due to it not doing too well and being judged, to just posting my content and move on to the next thing. And the thing is, because I'm producing a lot of content, nobody is really going to care or even remember your post with 2 likes or 1 view. And as for the hate comment, you're never going to meet that person anyway. So another way to think about it is, they're just scrolling through their feed or their timeline or wherever they find you. And for a moment they interact with your piece of content. But the moment they scroll past it, their mind is already adjusting to the next piece of content. Of course, if they relate or they like your content, or maybe if they're a hater, they'll engage with it. But majority of the people will just like your post, or maybe not, and simply just move on. And don't get it twisted. Of course, I reply to every comment and every DM because I want to show the same people that likes and supports my content that I actually care about them. And so when it comes to actually posting content, like physically taking the action, hitting the post button to send it to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or wherever, you'll definitely want to set time aside to actually create that piece of content you're wanting to post. Whether it's a video, picture, or audio, you might have to take pictures, film a video, record a podcast, edit it, chop it up, post-produce, add captions, add hashtags, all of these things. Again, this might take some time, and it just all depends on your vision and your brand. Some piece of content might take less than 30 seconds to create, something like taking a quick picture and posting it. Other pieces of content might take over an hour or maybe even 2 hours to record something, edit, chop it up, and finally post it. But regardless, whether it takes you a short period of time or a long time to produce content, it will definitely require your time and effort to do so. There's really no shortcuts unless you might want to hire someone to do the captions or the copy or the hashtags. But if you are by yourself, if you're just a one-person team doing everything yourself, it's going to require time and effort. Which kind of brings me to my next point. A key tip I use to maximize my time creating content is to stockpile on a bunch of content. Meaning I would dedicate a few hours in a day to plan out my content for the day or even for the week. So when that time comes to post, it won't take as long because I know the exact picture or video that I'm going to post. I have the caption, I have the hashtags, it's all edited, it's already chopped up. So all that hard work is already over. So all I have to do then is just post it. And there's a lot of third-party apps that's really helpful in helping you do this. There's a lot of apps that will automatically post on Instagram for you. All you have to do is just schedule it. There's other apps that you can plan your whole grid, plan the layout, and set a reminder to remind you when to post. And one that I use myself is Unum, UNUM. And I use it, it's very helpful. It reminds me when to post. I can see which post can go where. It has the whole grid layout for you. So it's very easy to use. So that's one that I would recommend you checking out. Another one that you can check out is Later, Later. And that's kind of like Unum. It's just like another different layout, a different format. Essentially, they both do the same thing. But I'm just giving you ideas so you can check out to see which one works best for you. So that is pretty much my entire breakdown of my approach to creating content, starting with the planning all the way to the mindset and ending with that last step, which is hitting that post button and of course responding to comments and DMs. Now, I'm not saying my approach to creating content is the best way or the only way or even yield the same results as me. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is this is my unique approach. This is what I do. This is what works for me and my brand. I'm aware there are tons of other ways to create content, and if you find another way that works better for you, then go all in on it. I couldn't be more happier for you. But I just wanted to explain step by step my unique approach to creating content and just to share it with you. So just to recap my unique approach to creating content. First, if you're a beginner and you're just starting out and you want to post content, the best thing to do is to sit down, think about everything I just told you. Think about which platform do you want to be on. Name a few that you want to be on. Next, think about what kind of content you want to put out on those platforms. Is it picture? Is it video? Is it audio? Think about what kind of content you want to put out. And next, think about what kind of message you want to deliver to your audience. Do you want to be educational? Do you want to be funny? Do you want to entertain? Do you want to be inspirational, motivational? What is it that you want to be? And I just listed a few. There's so many more avenues that you can go down, but I just named a few to give you some ideas. And don't limit yourself to just one. You can combine multiple. Like myself and many other producers, I try to go for informative, educational, but also entertaining with a mix of motivational and inspirational. And if you're already producing content, but you're not quite where you want to be, take the same approach as me. Sit down, think about what you're currently doing. Are you posting once a week? Are you posting once every other week? Write down everything that you're doing. What kind of content are you posting? Are you posting video? Are you posting pictures? Write that down too. And write down which platforms are you on right now. All the platforms. I'm talking YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything. Which platforms are you on now? Write down what kind of content are you posting on each platform. Break down everything. Are you posting funny videos? Are you posting beat tutorials? Are you posting memes? Are you posting something motivational? Write down what you're actually posting. Now that you've written down which platforms you're on and what kind of content you're posting, reevaluate. Look at what you're doing and see how you can do better. Do you want to post 3 times a week instead of 1? Do you want to post once a day instead of once a week? Think about how you can produce content that fits your message. So the whole thing is just to take a step back, reevaluate what you're currently doing, and see how you can do better. And don't be afraid to try new things. Try a new platform. Try spreading a new message. Try posting a different type of content. Try new things, experiment it, see what works best for you, your brand, your personality. And once you find something that works, double down and go all in on it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, found some value and inspiration. Make sure you leave a review so I know you like my content. I know you are enjoying these episodes so I can do more and more and more of these. And I want to leave you with one last reminder. Today's your day only if you make it. Have a good one.